Today, the 7th of May, 1945. People are saying Germany has surrendered, and by the look of the streets, it must be true. Flags are up, neighbors are all out, and there is a lot of singing on every corner, dancing, hugging, and celebration. I am heading to the community center to collect a few ingredients. I'll bake our victory cake for tomorrow's official celebrations. And there is John, having the time of his life. The grocery delivery driver let him ride in his van. You can just feel it in the air. Peace is finally here. And finally, I collected all the necessary ingredients for this amazing recipe for the party cake. It's called Wartime Christmas or Party Cake. And nowadays, for today, it will be Victory Day Party Cake. I even got an orange. I was quite surprised to see it. Somebody in our community center gifted it to me for this occasion so I can bake a lovely cake for everyone. I didn't ask where it comes from. We never ask other people where things come from. We know where they might come from, but we won't be making assumptions because at the end of the day we also receive different parcels from abroad. And it's time for me to start baking a Victory Day party cake. Sieve the flour and mix spices together. Next, mix in the ground almonds. Give it a little stir. Chop the raisins. Clean the sultanas and currants in flour. Cut cherries in quarters. Next, chop the candied peel. Now we need to mix all the fruit together. Add orange rind. Every drop of orange rind is at the price of a gold. Add orange juice. Mix all the fruit together. Smells delicious. Smells like Christmas. And next we need to cream the stock margarine with the brown sugar until the sugar is melted. And I expect that this will take some time. I'll start working with the fork just to break the margarine a little bit to make my rotary mixer's life easier. As I said, I expect this to be quite a lengthy process because it will take some time for sugar to melt in the margarine. Now, time for my rotary whisker. We really need to spend some time doing this because it's very important that the sugar melts, and when you try it, you don't feel the little bits of sugar between your fingers. I still feel and hear sugar crunching, so I definitely need more time. It's definitely getting there. I do not feel the crunchiness in my bowl, but I still felt a little bit of sugar bits between my fingers. So I give it another 5 minutes. Depending on the temperature in your room, temperature of your margarine, this process can happen slower or faster. It feels lovely, nice, smooth and creamy. Next, we need to beat the eggs and milk together. 4 eggs, 4 people contributed with the eggs from our community center. This is quite a substantial amount of eggs. That's the rationing for the whole week for my family of 4. Next, we need to gradually add into the sugar and margarine mixture egg and flour. So we have to do it in a gradual way. That's what the recipe calls for. Add 2 spoonfuls of flour. And then 2 spoonfuls of egg. A bit more. Mixing. And again, 2 spoonfuls of flour and 2 spoonfuls of egg and milk. And continue this way until everything is well combined. This is how the batter looks like now. And the final step is to stir in the mixed fruit. Looks and smells delicious. Mix well. Let's pour our batter into the prepared tin. And smooth the surface. Now let's talk about the oven temperature you need to bake your cake in. So the recipe calls to bake it for 1 hour in a moderate oven, regular mark number 4. This recipe, I think, is adapted for the gas oven in regular number 4, which means 170 degrees. So that you will need to bake for 1 hour in this temperature. And next, you need to bake it for 3 hours longer in a slow oven, mark number 1, which will, and we really don't want to ruin this cake with so many products and ingredients used, and so many people having their hopes and expect this cake to come out really nicely with their contribution. Knowing my baby belly, which is quite advanced age but still going strong, I think in my case this temperature should be increased a little bit to make it more efficient, because it is sometimes not heating up well. So I will bake it in 175 for 1 hour, and then after that in a low oven I will bake it for exact 3 hours. I expect it to take it slower. But in your ovens, if you have modern ovens like induction electric ovens, I would recommend to reduce temperature. Instead of 170 for 1 hour, I think you need to bake it in 160 for 1 hour, and then 140 for 1 hour 40 minutes. Time to go into the preheated oven. Bake for 1 hour at 170 degrees, which is a moderate oven. And then for 3 more hours at 140 degrees, which is a low oven. The Victory Day cake will be baking half of the day, and I have plenty of time to get ready for celebrations tomorrow. I'm going to prepare my house and decorate it with some flowers and Union Jack flags. And during this time, I will also think how I will decorate my cake. At the end, the cake took shorter than I expected and than the recipe called for. So I didn't keep it for further 3 hours in the oven, because it was completely ready when I checked after additional 1 hour 45 minutes, even in my slow oven. So I just decided to take it out, and it looks very well done. It's good texture. I also got some decorative ribbons that I plan to use for my cake decorations. And I have some Union Jack flags that I will hang around as well and bring it with me. And I've got some fresh flowers, which so here we are. The biggest day we were dreaming and hoping for is finally here. But people have really mixed feelings. I think we're all overwhelmed with the greatest relief, the greatest joy, the greatest exhaustion. And I think we're all full of reflection, even though it feels like there is no much space for that reflection in the last few days, when we learn that the victory is coming. But it breaks my heart to think about the mothers, the wives, whose sons and daughters wouldn't make it home to them to celebrate with everyone. And this is the terrible reality of the war. War just doesn't make sense. It's not people who want that. On both sides, it's never people. But we should be grateful we are here. We're here, and thanks be to God, to those who laid their lives with the hope that they had, that they're fighting for their families, for their loved ones. We will be eternally grateful to all those people who loved so much. That's the greatest love, when a man can lay down his life for someone. I do feel very excited. It's just a difficult feeling to express. And I think many people can identify with that. They feel more or less quite similar. It's not so much of excitement over the victory, which is also the case, but I would say it's more like a relief that this terrible uncertainty, hostilities, difficulties are coming to an end. I couldn't also stop thinking about the German civilian population who didn't choose that. And there is a big sense of horror in me that what is yet to come for them in the upcoming days. And my kitchen and my house and my cake are all ready to celebrate the Victory Day, the day that we've been all waiting for so many years. Finally, it's here, and let me show you my cake. I followed this recipe from the stock Wartime cookery book, and I even tried to imitate the design. So this is the original recipe. And this is my cake, my version of this recipe. I feel confident that the cake itself is historically accurate. I followed the recipe exactly as prescribed, and there was no additions or changes from my side. The icing I also did the way the recipe recommended. So that is a typical icing from the Wartime, which involves egg white, a little bit of lemon juice, and the icing sugar, all mixed together. I also tried to imitate the decorations around the cake, although I didn't find the fluffy little bits to put around my cake, but I found this nice golden decorative ornament. This is my version of the decoration around the cake. And the book presents 3 different versions of the party cake. So one is navy, which I went for. I feel this is the closest to me because my grandfather was a Marine as well, and he was a sailor, and he spent all his life on the sea. So I chose this version as I mostly identify with that. And then there are also 2 other versions, so the army cake and the Air Force cake with the little toy aeroplane that the recipe says you can buy in the bookshop or in the bakery shop, which I found very interesting that in those days it was available. And I also set the table for the tea party after the community center celebrations, where I will bring my cake. Few of my friends will come to our house to continue celebrating with the tea party. Here I've got some cherry Bakewell tarts and some bits and bites of fruit cake that I did before. And then we might have a champagne. My friend will bring a bottle that she kept from before the wartime.
You won't see any big parade, there won't be any bugle play. Sad to say, no war today, 'cause the general's fast asleep. Soldiers bold in a mighty row, they've been told they're to fight the foe. Sad to say, no war today, 'cause the general's fast asleep. The colonel's mad and the major's blue, the captain's sad and the sergeant too. Guess this war will I have to keep, it's enough to make an army weep. Look, oh look at the curly head, time to take him up.
The wartime party cake tastes great, just like the Victory.
From number 10 Downing Street, the Prime Minister makes the momentous announcement for which the world had been waiting.
Yesterday morning at 2:41 a.m. at General Eisenhower's headquarters, General Jodl, the representative of the German High Command, and of Grand Admiral Dönitz, the designated head of the German state, signed the act of unconditional surrender of all German land, sea, and air forces in Europe to the Allied expeditionary forces and simultaneously to the Soviet High Command. Hostilities will end officially at 1 minute after midnight tonight, Tuesday, the 8th of May. We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing. Today is Victory in Europe Day. Tomorrow will also be Victory in Europe Day.
Trying to smile once in a while.